Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. This is Harold Zawatsky. I'm the chair of the Fairfield Board of Assessment Appeals. It is Wednesday, April the 14th. The time is 6:09 p.m. and we are conducting our meeting for deliberation and voting upon appeals properly brought before the board. And I'm calling this meeting to order. And I would like to start with identifying who is present for our quorum this evening. So if you could please announce that you're here when I call your name. Kathleen Griffin.
Here.
Ranik Patel.
Here, sorry, I couldn't get to mute fast.
John Spolier.
Here.
Paulette Kuzo.
Here.
And Harold Zawatsky. We have 5 members present this evening, and we are going to be reviewing and discussing some commercial properties that we have heard. And I think I can launch into that. First one I'd like to do is appeal number 557. If you go to the list of commercial properties for 414 on the spreadsheet. You can find it there.
And what was the number again, Harold?
557.
Thank you.
Are you calling a motion?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am trying to find it myself.
Oh.
On that, kind of look in the master. All right, in any event, this property is located at 355 Kings Highway. The owner is 355 Kings Highway LLC. This was appeal was presented by Robert DiNardo. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $1,250,000. I make a motion to grant this appeal for the requested amount of $1,250,000.
This is Ranik, I'll second that.
Thank you, Ranik. So Mr. DiNardo presented this building, said that the building is unusable. The structure remains, but it is contaminated. There was a car dealership there before with some leaking storage, fuel tanks, oil tanks that has contaminated the property. There's also water drainage issues due to the elevation of the land and the Rooster River, which passes behind it or alongside of it. The main problem was the contamination. It's an issue, and cleanup would be, he stated, in the millions of dollars. The building has been gutted, the wires have been pulled out, it's boarded up, and he was asking why the building was increased. He did not present any information to support the claims for the condition of the building, but in looking at the photos and looking at the pictures of the property and looking at the history, I feel that it is severely affected by the pollution and the damages to it. And I think that certainly the building should be, if not eliminated, significantly reduced. And I was thinking that he also mentioned that, you know, there's a slab, the building is built on a slab, and even removal of the slab would stir up the land so that the pollution would even be worse. And so I discussed the fact that, you know, there's still a structure there, there's a slab that someone could build upon. And so I think traditionally, when you're looking at a building, the foundation is about 10% of the value of the building. So one thought I had was, well, if we reduce the two buildings on the property by 90%, leaving just some value for the foundation that somebody could then build upon and leave the land alone, that might be a way to approach this. Any thoughts from anybody else?
Is this the former Miller Nissan property?
It's where the cars were stored. Before that, it was a current Volkswagen, had a showroom there.
Oh, okay, current vote. Okay, I thought it was Miller Nissan, but I think, yeah.
But after the current Volkswagen
Wow.
occupation, it was just used as a storage lot for those cars of Miller.
Okay.
Excuse me, didn't he tell us too that they've lost cars because of the flooding? So it's the flooding problem.
Yeah, well, he didn't mention that, but you know, I can understand that. There's some low areas, and the Rooster River has flooded houses as businesses, and certainly some cars might have been lost there. And thank goodness insurance helps out, maybe not to the extent that everybody would like, but I would think that the car dealership would have insurance on the cars for theft, fire, water damage, and so on.
Okay.
So
Didn't they
he didn't
try?
really,
Oh, go ahead.
he didn't really complain about the land. The main issue was the building. And I could see, since the building has been vacant for so long and it's gutted and boarded up, that taking the majority of the value of the building off would make sense.
Don, what were you gonna say?
Yes, Kathleen.
Sure. So he also has some outbuildings. I don't know that they're valued at $165,000. That includes the parking lot, the 6-foot fence, and something that's an LT2 that has a value of $3,200. I'm assuming the parking lot's still there and the fence is there, so we wouldn't be taking the outbuildings off. We would
He
be
did
looking
mention,
to take the building off.
he did mention that the asphalt, because of the flooding, was severely damaged and really in bad shape. So I don't think it affects the overall reduction that I'm thinking about. So
Yeah, this is Kathleen. The paving's at 50% anyway, as is whatever with double LI, whatever the LT2
Right,
code is
right.
for 3,200 out. So the fence is at 90%. So has anything changed since? It looks like they got a change at the informal in 2015. Have they, when did they gut the building? Recently? Or it's been gutted for all these years?
it's been gutted all these years and it's still standing. I mean, I would have liked to have seen him bring in some reports about the contamination and some pictures of the building, but seeing that it has been boarded up and there were, kids were going through it, pulling out wires and pipes or whatever they were doing. I can't believe that the building is useful in the condition that it's in now. I drove by it, I looked at it. I'll ask the assessor's office if there was any inspection done to the building to determine the condition. Ross?
Yeah, this is Ross Harold. I don't see any recent inspections listed.
And
Looks
it
like the
was,
last inspection was back for the previous revaluation.
okay, and a recent request for inspection wasn't done, so I still feel that reducing the value of the property by a good portion of the building would make sense. So I would like to suggest
Harold,
an adjustment. Yes, Ross.
this is Ross. Just so you are aware, the building on the property is depreciated by 82%. currently.
already.
Yes.
Is that a 1?
It's depreciated to a code 1 and plus another 15% functional and a 15% external obsolescence. So
That would take care
the
of,
effective
my-
depreciation is 82.
that would adjust my thinking then, because that's what I was going to suggest, that we look at doing something with those numbers. But if it's already there, I don't know how much lower we could get. I mean, if we reduce the 82% to a 90%, would that have much of a factor?
This is Ross. I can. So the balance on the building is $374,000.
This is
So I
Paula.
can, if we take,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
if I throw another, let's take the functional from 15 to 20. Oops, wrong computer. It takes it down about 100,000 to 270. So 5% is worth about 100,000.
Well, the owner of this property might be able to do better in court.
This is
What do you
Kathleen.
think?
Whether we deny him or we give him 100, he's still got to go, if he wants to go to court, he's going to go to court regardless of what we do, right? So if we do nothing, he's still probably going to go. If we give him 100 and he doesn't like it, he can still go. He just has to go this year. He can't go next year, right? He can't delay because now I believe that's correct, right, Ross? That he'll have to go this year because he's been granted something.
Well, yes, this is Harold. Yes, if an appellant is dissatisfied with the decision of the board, they can appeal to the courts. That's true. So if we make that card change, it reduces it by $100,000 in total. Is that correct?
Right. Every 5% I add to, say, the functional will take it down about 100.
This is Paula. I have a question. I have a question about the building. So a building that's been abandoned, boarded up with everything ripped out of it. So it's basically useless. I'm sure if they wanted to do something with it, most of it would have to be redone or come down. It's still worth $374,000. How could that be?
Well, this is Harold. I did some research on this, and the rule of thumb is that the foundation of a building is about 10% of the value of a building.
Okay.
So whatever the building was valued at, I mean, this is what the foundation costs, but if we reduce it further and take another $100,000 off, or even another 5% to get to, can we get $200,000 off?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that $1,250,000 is going to float.
If I put a functional of 30, which is another 15%, it brings the building down to 62,300. So that's a little better than 200,000 reduction. So the new total value is 1,938,700. And just to comment on to Paulette's question, there's still value in a structure. Just like if you had a home and somebody wanted to do a gut rehab, the structure of the house still has value because you don't have to rebuild everything. So the structure of the building would still have value. Most commercial spaces, when somebody goes into a commercial space, they start with what we call a white box.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this would probably likely need more than that work, but usually when somebody goes into a space, they just get blank walls and they do what they want with the interior of the space.
It does have a slab foundation. It does have cinder block walls, as I was reading it. So I would like to make an amended motion to change the value of this property to $1,938,700. All those in favor of the amendment? raise your hands. It's unanimous. 5-0-0. And now
What?
all those,
Need a second,
I'll second.
right?
oh,
Okay,
John seconds, okay.
that's okay. And Harold, can you repeat that amount again? Was it 1,900,000?
$1,938,700.
700, thank you.
So I have another question just in general about this particular, it's about this property, but it's a general question. So in the land, right? If he had brought in documentation that the land is contaminated, would that devalue that land? Because in commercial property, it's a little bit different than residential. In commercial property, they have to clean it up. In residential property, they don't. So would there be a difference in value based on the fact that the land is contaminated?
I'll answer that generally. I would say yes, because there is a cost to that cleanup.
Okay.
And that would need to be factored in, but you'd have to, understand the extent of the contamination, what the cleanup may cost, and it's again, there's no set number we would just apply.
And that's why I say that if he would have brought in some documentation to support that claim, all I really have is his verbal statement, and I don't know the extent of the contamination, but he did say that the building was unusable and the structure remains because of contamination. If he wanted to take the entire structure away, it would be worse, but I don't know the details of that. Yes, John?
I was gonna say, I think that at one point they tried to go to zoning to get housing on there, like an apartment or a mixed-use apartment. This might have been like 10 years ago or more.
Uh-huh.
And I think they were denied because of the wetlands. I don't remember anything from that about the contamination, but I'm assuming if they were to try to have built, or if they were to have built apartments on that, that it would have been, they would have had to remediate the soil anyways on there.
Yeah, I mean, just think about what it took to do the Exide,
Mhm.
old Exide plan.
Yep.
On the post road.
Yep.
All right, well, if he's dissatisfied with that adjustment, I think that he knows what recourse to take, but I'd like to call a vote on to grant in part to $1,938,700 for this appeal number 557. All those in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous, 5-0-0. I have another property, if we're ready to go, 558. And I think most Fairfield residents know this property. This is where the address is 500 Kings Highway, and the property owner is 500 Kings LLC. The town's value is $9,797,400. And the appellant's opinion of fair market value is $8 million, even $8 million. Okay. So the appellant said that there was an increase of 20%.
Second it, Harold, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need
I got it. I'll do
a
it.
second. Kathleen, you're seconding? Okay. The appellant stated that there was a 20% increase, but there's a substantial vacancy in the strip mall, he claimed. The property is a shopping center, and that's where, of course, Goodwill is, Town Fair Tire, the dialysis center, and others. So, and by the way, the picture on the card is wrong.
I was gonna say,
That's not sports,
not Fitness Edge.
not the Fitness Edge building. No, the building was wrong. The picture is wrong. And So, I mean, driving by the property, it doesn't look like it's vacant to me. I mean, Goodwill is there, Town Fair is there, the dialysis center. So I didn't really understand why he said that there was a substantial vacancy.
Well, is the dialysis place still there? And Collins Medical Care, Home Care, is that still there?
Well,
Was in it.
I would have to drive by again because I think that they were still there. I'm not sure.
Because I look at the notes here on the field card from in 2017, Town Fair Tire, Collins Medical Equipment, Liberty Dialysis, and then it says vacant 3. So I'm assuming that 3 of the units were vacant at that time. Goodwill 1, fit up for Goodwill canopy loading platform. Ross, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just want to jump in. Don't rely on the property notes to know who's in the building. That's not maintained.
Okay.
So,
But
you know, he didn't provide any profit loss statements to support the claim for vacancies. He just was really pointing to the 20% increase. So without any additional information, I can't see granting this appeal. And I think that he may be better off in a court proceeding where he can provide some substantive support for his claim.
He had an informal, this is Kathleen, he had an informal hearing too, right? So Chris Kieran reviewed everybody and he did have an informal, right? I see that. I see no change informal on the card. I don't know if he filled that out on his form.
Oh, the CK is that NVS?
Yes, that's Chris Kieran.
And he
Okay.
did fill it out that they did attend an informal hearing.
Yeah, so he's had somebody, he has spoken with somebody.
Now, it also says that they met with someone in the assessor's office to discuss the assessment. Now, I know from the residential side, you know, they'll say yes to both about informal hearing and discussing with the assessment office because they feel that, or they don't know that they're two different entities.
Yes, that was my mistake, bad question this year. It should have been worded. In other
Yeah.
years, it makes sense when we have a lot less, but this year with the informals, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if, Ross, do you know if there were any discussions, if Bernardo or the owner of 500 Kings?
I don't recall having the Denaros. They didn't come in, to the best of my knowledge. And it would have been with me. I think they're just confusing us, that question with community
The other, okay.
Yes. Mhm.
All right, I'd like to call a vote on this appeal. All those in favor of granting the requested value of $8 million, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. The vote is 0-5-0. The next one I have is 559. Appeal 559 is located at 675 Kings Highway. The property owner is 675 Kings Highway LLC. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $500,000. The town's value is $640,500. I make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value of $500,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's John.
Thank you, John. The owner noticed that there was a 25% increase in the land. It's a 0.13 acre parcel of land. And there was also a building increase of $5,000. The building is currently rented by Carpet King. And as a matter of fact, it was shared with me that Carpet King used to have this space across the street in the strip mall, but moved into smaller space. He feels that the land should be adjusted, the land value should be adjusted, and he asked the board to look at, or asked me to look at 645 Kings Highway, which is currently, I think, a used car lot, and the 685 Kings Highway properties. And I did notice that there was a difference in condition factor, at least between the 645 and the appellant's property at 675. 675 has a condition factor of 1.2 and 645 has a condition factor of 1. So I am curious to understand why the condition factor is 1.2 on the subject's property, and perhaps the assessor's office could address that for me.
This is Ross. I'm trying to pull it up here. Yeah, these are a little more difficult to decipher. I'm sorry, Harold, 645?
Yes. Now, also, I'll mention that that parcel of land is 11,700 square feet, and it's valued at 494,900.
And the appellant is only at 5,800 square feet, correct?
Just about half, yes.
I don't know if the property curve is that much.
Well, I think the property curve and that 1.2
that,
condition factor.
that 1.2 condition is.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if it can't be.
This is Ross. You know, generally we're looking at these on an income basis, because you're not going to have sales. I mean, sometimes on the smaller ones you might find some sales to comp against, but generally you're going to look at what the revenue is that parcel's producing.
And Harold, they didn't submit any income or
financial information.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if we were to grade it at, and what the 645 Kings Highway, was that the used car lot? I think it might. Okay. Does the type of, and this is a store C description, and the car lot perhaps has a different description?
This is Kathleen, Harold. I think it says car dealer as a description, but it looks like it's a garage, a place where you would fix cars or something, because it's got 2 bays and then a window.
Okay.
So
I believe it's a used car
car.
dealer and a
Repair shop.
Yes.
repair. Yeah.
Well, if we took this down to a condition of 1, like the neighbor's property, what would that do to the land value, and what would it do to the entire parcel?
The land would go to 343,300, and the overall would be 571.9.
What do we think about that, folks? Kathleen, yes, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so this is Kathleen. So I just, without we have a lot of commercial here, so without some, either sales data to say my house is gonna sell for this or some income on the property, I'm just really hard, to say that it needs to be the same as the neighbor because it's a different, it's a different kind of building than the neighbor. So I don't know that I'm comfortable, making adjustments without a really good case and some help, but that's,
Well, the
That's me.
subject building has been around for quite a while. It's a stone building. It's substantial in structure. I believe what did it say about the parking? There is finished first floor and utility storage. There's a 2,500 square foot of paved asphalt, so somewhere alongside the building or behind it, there is parking. Do we think, folks, that we should just leave this alone? Paulette?
I have a question. So, like in the residential, this says neighborhood C4 and the neighborhood adjustment 1.050. So is that the same as like the residential codes? Is some kind of, the C4 is good that this is put in and then the land is adjusted based on that? Am I supposed to be looking at that?
Yeah, this is Russ. Yeah, the neighborhood code functions the same. It will adjust the land value. But it's not grouped like a residential neighborhood. They're set up so that they recognize how valuable the particular road or section of the road is, how busy it is, how much traffic it gets. Because obviously with commercial or retail, you want more traffic.
Okay, so then the what was it, 475 Kings Highway we were talking about, Harold? What was the one he told you to look at?
475 is the subject property. No, 675, I'm sorry, 675 is the subject property, and 645 is the one that he suggested that we look at, and that has twice the square.
Land, yep.
Yeah,
twice
but
the
that,
land.
I mean, they're two totally different types of buildings.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
And that's what I was pointing out too. The subject property is a stone structure. It's been there since what, maybe the 40s, or if not before. I guess I could look up when it was built, but the other one is really just more or less a shed. It was built in
Okay.
1946.
Okay,
Mhm.
but looking at the structure right now, we're just looking at the land. So my question is, so that address, that's 645. It's got twice as much land. Does it have the same neighborhood and neighborhood adjustment?
Yes,
'Cause
I
I would-
believe it does, because I'm looking at the one right now at 645 Kings Highway, and that has the neighborhood code of C4.
And the adjustment is 1.050?
Correct. It's just that the difference between the two, besides the square footage and everything like that, is that the appellant has a 1.2 condition, whereas the other one has a 1.0 condition. The
What?
Pulver Motors.
Oh, I see. Okay, but then we're talking still about the land. So if what I understood Ross to say is that it has to do with the business, it has to do with the revenue, excuse me, and also the location. The busier locations are better when you're doing retail or commercial. So I don't see a big difference in location between 645 and 675, probably right in the same strip. So the location as far as being valuable should be the same, but the size of the land is different. So I would argue that his land value, it's too much for that much land.
Again, what bumps it up is that 20% increase in
Condition.
the adjustment.
Okay, so, but why is that? I mean, if we're talking about just the land, then It's in the same location, basically. The same amount of traffic goes by that strip. So how did this land get to be more valuable than the one at 645? When that's bigger?
Well, I think it was mentioned, and we can ask the assessor to comment more if we wish, but I think it was mentioned that on commercial properties, there's other factors that affect the value, such as revenue, but that's what I heard. I don't know, Ross, if that is the reason why it's a 1.2 versus a 1.
We concentrate more on the total value based on, usage of the property. What's the potential return on that property? What's it going to generate in revenue? So that's the primary thing we're looking at. We're not looking to break it down into components. We have to for the field card. So
Russ,
I don't understand, because I understand you don't want to break it down into components, or you don't do that. Not that you don't want to. It's not done that way, and I understand that. But again, how do you know it? This is a carpet store. Do we really believe that a carpet store generates more income than a car dealer? I don't think so.
well, and that's a question I have for Ross. Are we talking about business income, or are we talking about rental income?
this is Ross. It would be the rental stream to the property, not what the business generates. And that's why we collect income and expense information on all commercial property. So we have that information, and that would have been given to municipal valuations to evaluate. I can't share that because it's protected by FOIA. It's not a public document.
So this is Harold. It would have been something that in commercial properties, if you're collecting rent, you should be presenting that information to help support your case.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can determine whether we can understand that to the extent that we can see if it supports the appellant's case. All right. Well, we're getting an education here. All right. I think we've had sufficient discussion on this. I will call a vote. Any other comments from anyone? Okay. All those in favor of granting the requested amount of $500,000, please raise your hand. All opposed? It's unanimous. It's opposed. The vote is 0-5-0. The appeal is denied. All right, another one that I have is 561. 561 is 1916 Post Road, and the owner is 1916 Post Road Associates. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Okay. Where'd it go?
God, 2 million.
Okay. So everybody knows this property is the location of Mrs. Green's.
This is Kathleen. Sorry. Can you just, we need a second. And did you state the amount?
No, not yet. No, I was just stating where it is so people would know. But the appellant's opinion of fair market value is $2 million. The town has it valued at $2,455,000. I make a motion to grant the requested amount of $2 million. Do I have a second?
This is John. I'll
This is
second.
Ronique. Oh, sorry.
I'll let Ronique take this one.
I
Okay.
always do it.
As I say, this was Mrs. Green's Market, health food, and various other items in the store. I frequented it often. It also includes, so the market is downstairs and there's 2 apartments upstairs. The market space below is vacant, as well as the 2 apartments above. There is limited parking underneath. And one of the challenges that they mentioned was that there's insufficient parking for that business. Also, that the fact that the apartments, one is entered in the through the rear of the building, facing the train tracks, and is not as attractive to some people as, he has not received any rental offers that were acceptable to him. He did have an informal hearing that reduced the value. It's next to the Dairy Queen he mentioned. And he questioned the value of the improvements on the property. So we'd have to take a look at the card to see what he was referring to there. But he did receive a reduction as a result of the informal. And I have no further information to support any claims regarding the rentals, except that it is vacant.
And the apartments both are vacant?
And I understand apartments are both vacant. They're functional, but they're vacant. Any comments or questions? Then I'll call a vote.
Well, my question is then, if it's vacant, so there's no income produced, right? So where do we get the value from when there's 0 income? And it's in a great spot, it's in a great location as far as traffic, but what does it matter if it's empty?
Well,
The trust, you would use market rents. I mean, part of what they do with the I&Es is they develop, the market rent for different building types and different classes of properties and apply that. So you're not necessarily using the income and expense from a given property to value that property. You're using all the income and expense information to develop market values. You certainly look at the individual to get a sense of what that property is actually doing, but it's not used just for that one. And when you have a vacant property, it's just like a brand new building that's unrented. It still has value. And then you'd have to, look into, try to decide or determine what's causing the vacancy. Is it something wrong with the building? I've seen buildings where it's just, they're poorly managed and they're not getting the tenants because of the management. They're not seeking them out well. They're not advertising well. So you have a management issue. Not saying that's the case here, but that's something that needs to get looked at.
This is Harold. He did say that he was not getting rental offers that were acceptable to him. So perhaps he is asking or holding out for a higher rental amount.
And he didn't give a square foot of what he was waiting for?
There was nothing else other than what I mentioned, nothing else in the file. I did note that the increase was very, very little between the 2015 evaluation period and what he got reduced to as a result of the informal. So I think that the situation was being considered during the informal hearing. So if there's no further questions or comments, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $2 million, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? The motion does not pass. The appeal denied. The vote is 0-4-1 with Paulette abstaining. Thank you.
I just want to say for the record that I'm abstaining because I don't believe that we should be doing properties in this price range. It's commercial properties. We had a choice not to do them. Somehow we're doing them, and I don't ever remember voting on this. So I don't really think it's appropriate for the board to be doing properties in this price range. 1
Well-
million is usually what we do.
Yeah, I would, and we do have some that are under 1 million.
That's fine.
Properties, but I think that the people submitted these documents before the board even met to hear them. So the paperwork was already received, the documents were already received, with an assumption that they were going to get a hearing and they were going to have a deliberation and voted upon it. I believe that that was their impression. Yes, Kathleen?
Yeah, this is Kathleen. So I believe it was at our December meeting that we voted to hear commercial. I'm pretty sure it was in December because otherwise our next meeting after that was February. So Paulette Carol was on the board at that point in time because once the appeal period opened on February 1st, that was when they had to have their paperwork in. So we wouldn't have been able to vote that late on it. So I'm 99% sure we voted on it in December. And Paulette, that's probably why you don't remember because Carol was on the board. Yeah, you weren't on the board yet. Carol didn't resign until February. And we'd already.
Do you guys usually do these, or is this just the first time in the last 4 years that you're doing them?
Ms. Kathleen, I think we voted yes the last couple years to hear them. I mean, we've never had this number, but I think the reason we have, and Ross can speak to that, but I think the reason we have the number is because it's year one of a 5-year period. So when they get a reduction now, they're going to get a reduction, for the long haul. So this is the best chance for them if they're going to go to court and appeal is now, because then that'll hold for 5 years. So that's probably why we didn't get many in the last couple of years, but we're getting them all now because it's the beginning of the 5-year period. That's my guess.
So this is Harold. I do have 4 more they happen to be from the same appellant, and they all are appeals based upon income and profit and loss of the rental properties, which I'm happy to go through them for the record, but I don't feel personally capable of playing with the arithmetic or figuring out the arithmetic to understand if the valuations that are being requested are correct or supported. So I'll be happy to go through them with that understanding, and if you feel that you can shed some light on the valuations, and any of you, then we can hear the discussion. You want to go through it?
Well, this is Kathleen. We have to vote on them regardless. It's a question of how much time do you want to spend presenting them. And the second thing I would say, if Ross has any input on it that can help us make a decision, not to make the decision for us, but to provide some input on whatever the category is. Are these apartments? Is that what the appeals are?
No, these are commercial properties that, and I'll go through them because we do need to get them.
We do need to vote on everything.
I just wanted to forewarn you of what was to come. So I can do that, okay? We're
Okay.
all on the same page? Okay. So 577. The property is located at 12 Haley Court. The owner is Brentwood Associates. The appellant is requesting the amount of $1,800,000. And the town has it valued at $2,325,200. Excuse me, $2,352,200. I make a motion to grant the appeal in the requested amount of $1,800,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's John.
John has seconded. Okay, if you take a look at the property, you'll notice that it appears to be a parking lot. But there is there's commercial land, I mean, a commercial building behind it. And the appellant did present a financial summary. They said that there were no comps to be found. They presented the financials for income calculations, and that the lower income was due to COVID, and the profit and loss and the letter that is included reflects that. He mentioned that there is a dance school there, Connecticut Dance School, and that during COVID, he was helping them out with a reduction in their rents. Any thoughts or comments on this?
I think I do. I think that he presented the factual information regarding to profits and loss. There's a nice letter from the guy who did the appeal for him, explaining why they have a net income of minus 34,000 and change. So during COVID, when we've jacked properties up and agreed to those values because of COVID, so here we have the reverse because of COVID. So I would say that I think he is making a case.
This is Kathleen. Did he have an informal hearing, Harold? I don't see it on his card.
I don't see any reduction or an informal hearing on this property at 12 Halley Court.
Okay. So Ross, since he didn't have an informal, do you have any direction or any advice on this, or you just, you know?
This is Ross here. He's provided some information. You know, when we do an income and expense analysis, we would not be taking minus 34,000. He's included a lot of expenses that should not be in an analysis, such as the real estate tax, mortgage interest, and I'm just scanning it, depreciation. So those things are not included when you do when you capitalize the income. He's also not provided what he would believe would be an appropriate cap rate, which is necessary to develop the value.
Okay,
When you
so
say
this
the
is
cap-
Kathy. It sounds like we don't have enough information to make a decision.
No, also, I would say that he did not indicate when the reduction in the rent was made and when it would be reversed. So this could be just a temporary change, but anything we settle on will be good for the remainder of this revaluation period.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is Ross. The other thing, I'm sorry, Harold. The other thing I'll just talk a bit about when you're analyzing a commercial property is it's fine to look at the income and expense and capitalize the 1 year, but normally, you know, if you're doing a deeper appeal, you would probably get into what's called the discounted cash flow analysis, where you take the income and expense and project it out over a holding period of, say, 20 years and bring that back to today's dollars. So that would tell you what an investor would likely pay for that building today, given a projected revenue stream. So yes, you can do an income and expense and a cap rate analysis on an individual year, but normally you're looking for a holding period, you know, much longer term.
Well, as I said, this is the kind of situation with commercials that I don't think that I'm qualified to deal with. And so being a sophisticated commercial property owner, I think that the owner of this property will do better at attending a court hearing or approaching the courts. So I'd like to vote on this. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $1,800,000, please raise your hand. I have one in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. I have three opposed. Abstentions? I have one abstention. The appeal is denied. The vote is one in favor, three opposed, and one abstention.
Harold, can you tell me who abstained and who voted in favor?
Yes, Paulette voted in favor, and Ronique abstained.
Thank you.
The next property is 578, appeal number 578. The property is 770 Commerce Drive, and the owner is 770 Commerce Drive LLC. The appellant's requested value is $1,120,000, and I make a motion to grant the appeal to the requested amount of $1,120,000. Do I have a second? Kathleen has seconded it. And again, this is 578. Folks, you probably will know this better as the Rio Bravo Restaurant. And again, we have income and expense calculations here. The lot does include the building for the restaurant and the parking lot. There was no informal hearing, I believe. Yes, no informal hearing, nothing changed. I don't have any further information to go on. There is a letter, again, associated with the income and expense calculations done on the following page. Ronique, you have a question?
Yeah, question. With these commercial properties, are they required or are they expected to come with comparable sales?
There are sometimes appeals that come with comparable sales. Depending on the type of property, it's hard to equate restaurants of different structures in different locations. They're not as common as houses and not as categorizable as houses, I guess, and residential properties. I don't know, anybody else have some thoughts about that?
I don't know that there's that many.
No,
I don't know if they'd be able to find them. I
Yeah,
don't.
this is Ross.
I wouldn't think so either.
what's your
But I'm just trying to think of like things that they could provide as like evidence. Like even with the last case, it's almost like, all right, well, what more could they have possibly provided? And that's why I'm just trying to get my mindset around these commercial properties. That's why it's a little tough with these.
Well, I'll tell you what my understanding is. What they're providing is a square foot rental value to their properties.
Yeah.
That changes based upon what the rental income is, and that equates somewhat to the value of the property. And that they submit that, not necessarily for the board to come up with a complete understanding of that, but in preparation of possibly appealing to the courts if they deem that their reasoning is appropriate.
Okay. Thank you.
Ross, I mean, do you feel that that's a correct statement, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think on this one, looking at it, we would probably not disagree with the revenue on it, but we're using different cap rates, and that's frequently a lot of times the appeals come down to how you develop your cap rate and which one is more appropriate. Just speaking to Ronek on comps, a lot of times on these, you're going to get comps from a region. Either they're going to be from as far up as New Haven and all the way down to Greenwich, depending on the type of property you're looking at. So, you're not going to expect them to provide comps from within town. And like you see on a residential appraisal, the primary method is comparable sales. On a commercial one, the primary method is the income approach.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
So even though this man provided his rental income and cap rates, that's not good enough to make a decision, to really understand the decision, because the town uses a different cap rate? I'm not sure I understand that thinking. The last one didn't have any cap rates, so we deny that one. This one has cap rates, so is there something wrong with this, with the cap rates? I mean,
I wasn't saying anything was necessarily wrong with it. I was just trying to figure out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't mean you. I was just wondering in general, like, well, Ross said something about you can use different cap rates. So how do you decide whose cap rate is correct?
Right.
Well, this is Harold. If you look at the letter, I think that he's adjusting based upon a reduction in rents that he has given the renters for a specific period of time. And he recognizes that the income basis is not just for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And he does say that the cap rate of 10% is being generous for this type of property. I don't know if that's a fair statement or not.
This is Kathleen. Oh, I heard, maybe Ross can speak to that. I heard I think it's based on the type of business that you're running. Is that right? As I think when I had a nursing home, they're like, oh, we use a very different cap rate depending upon commercial, what the use is. So.
Right. And yeah, that's true. And the type of rent, in this type of building, it's typically a triple net, meaning that the tenant pays everything. So the rent is just basically pure income to the owner of the building. Other like a retail, the landlord would be responsible for the taxes. He may pass some of that through, but he's paying the taxes and insurance and the other utilities and that sort of thing.
I have to say, it concerns me. I mean, I think what it looks to me like we're doing is we're guessing until Ross weighs in, because he has the information and we don't know, because we just don't know. And I just don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't think this is right. But you say we have to give them all a deliberation because they had a hearing. You decided on this in December. You could have put on the website before February or January that they shouldn't appeal more than $1 million in value. Yet let them go right on doing it. And now it sounds like we don't really know what we're doing.
Well, this is Harold. I think that would be disenfranchising commercial properties that wanted to submit in a revaluation year a request for a reduction in their taxes.
Well, I think if they knew that we don't know how to do this, they wouldn't be disenfranchised. They'd probably be thrilled.
Because they would go straight to court.
Then they'd be stuck.
To court. Then they could go straight to court. They wouldn't have to have gone to a hearing. They could have just gone to court.
Well, we've given them the opportunity to gather the information together and that they would need to go to court with, and in the time frame that would be suitable for them.
And so I'm wondering if we're doing this so we can give the town the information they need to go to court to appeal this, to fight with them. Because I don't see a reason why we're doing this.
This is Harold. I think that the information has already been provided to the town. So the
That's
town had that information.
I realize that.
back-
I agree with you, Harold. The information's been
Yeah.
provided to the town. I'm wondering why we went through this, because now the town has the information to go to court with. Otherwise, they would go to court blind. So that's what it seems like to me, because we're doing these people no favor and no justice.
This is Harold. I don't think an attorney would go to court blind. They would be requesting this information and probably more, because that would be required to disclose such information if it's going to be discussed in court.
So they can do that then. I don't know why we had to get involved in it.
Well, the fact is we are, so let's try to push forward through it, because we can't avoid these at this time. And I hear what you're saying, but we're in it now, and maybe next year we vote differently, but this year it's already in the process.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Ronique. I hear what you're saying too, Paulette. I think it's a good opportunity for maybe small businesses who want to avoid court to pay the court fees for this kind of process. But when it comes to like these large, like expensive commercial properties, I don't know. It may do them better in court, but it's hard to tell. That's why I do think it's a good service for maybe small businesses. But then again, what information do small businesses provide to give testimony to this, right? So it's a little weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
That's
agree
why
with you.
under $1 million. I agree with you. That's why under $1 million. Okay, we do our best. We try. But with these bigger
Right.
things, it's just too much.
Right.
All right, well, I think that we understand the different opinions. The fact remains that we do need to vote on this. So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting the appeal in the requested amount of $1,120,000, please raise your hand. I have one in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. I have three opposed. Abstentions? One abstention. The appeal is not granted, is denied. The vote is 1 in favor, 3 opposed, 1 abstention. Paulette in favor and Ronique abstaining. The appeal is not granted, is denied. I'm afraid I have two more that are similar situation.
What are we going to throw in the dark this time? Pick one.
I know.
I'm going to say it's 579. Either that or 580.
You're a mind reader. 579.
Okay.
And then I'll have one more after that.
I mean, these
This
all
is
these are all contact name. Could they just appeal all of their properties in court all at once, or do they have to have like a separate session in court for all of these? Just curious.
I really don't know the answer to that one.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
This is Ron. They would be separate appeals to Superior Court. If we did a pretrial, they might group some of them together since it's probably going to be all the same parties.
It's
Okay.
my understanding from prior experience that many times there's a settlement that is done prior to a court appearance. And that kind of settlement is one that neither party is happy with, but they settle. Okay, so again, this appeal number 579. The appellant is requesting a value of $811,800. The town has it valued at $1,555,000. I make a motion to grant this appeal in the amount of $811,800. Do I have a second?
This is Ronique. I'll second. Oh, well.
Nope. Take it,
Everyone.
Ronique.
Ronique
Everyone.
is warming
Ronique,
up.
Well, yeah, he's warming up and we'll give him the credit. Get his name out there.
Okay. You may also know this property as Sweet Basil. This property is linked with the next property, 580, which the 600 Commerce is the building and the 580 is the parking lot for the restaurant. And the restaurant does require to have this parking lot if it's going to retain its position as a restaurant. It wouldn't be allowed to be a restaurant if it didn't provide parking. And Sweet Basil does pay the rent for both properties, the amount of $132,000. No, that's not right. That might be, disregard that. But he did reduce the rent due to COVID. And he stated that 82% of the land value should relate to the 600 Commerce Drive and 18% to the 572 Commerce Drive property. Okay, so that's some background information I have. This portion at 600, as I said, is the restaurant. And again, there was no informal hearing. And that's really all the information I have. There is some profit loss again. And there is a letter explaining.
In the letter, Harold, he talks about trying to merge the two properties into one. And is this what?
This is Harold. He did mention that he went to the assessor's office and spoke to the assessor about merging the two properties into one. I don't know what the outcome of that is.
This is Kathleen. That letter is dated 2019. If you look at the date on it, so maybe
2019. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if he decided not to do it. Ross, this is Kathleen. Ross, do you have any? Was it not a financially good idea, or he just didn't do it, or you don't know?
Yeah, this is Russ. I'm looking at the GIS, and it appears that the map may have been filed and merged, because I'm not seeing a separate parking lot from the building.
Yeah, this is Veronique. This is a little strange because if you look at the last assessment, I mean, it was assessed at 567, and then now at one. That's weird. So you're saying it may have merged in between that? So then they missed the page.
It would have had to have been merged after the grand list, after 10-120. Otherwise, we would have treated it as one property. But if you would table this, I'd like to do a little more research on it and see what I can come up with.
I think that would, this is Harold, I think that would be beneficial to the appellant. So I would like to table this motion and seek additional input from the assessor's office.
No action.
Take no action, and then
I think this, Kathleen. Yeah, take no action. If you withdraw it, you actually need a vote to withdraw it. And tabling means we'll bring it back up tonight, but I think we're going to not bring it back up tonight. It'll come back, right? So I just take no action.
We might not get the answers that we need tonight.
Not tonight, yeah.
Taking no action will require a vote. So all those in favor?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
You just take no action. Yeah.
Tabling it does.
All right. So
I'm sorry, it does need a vote?
No, tabling needs a vote. I don't think withdrawal.
I don't think no action does. Yeah.
All right.
No action, yeah.
And I'm going to suggest that we take no action on appeal number 579 and the related property 580. No action. So that's my exciting world of commercial properties. Who else has some?
I'll go and do my commercials, or some of them at least.
Please do. Thank you, John.
Okay. I'm gonna run the table with all the Mario Capolo ones that I have here. Okay. So Let me just sort. Hold on for a second. I just want to sort on the appeal number. Okay. All these are going to pretty much be the same. So the first one I want to go with is appeal number 101. Okay. And this is for, where is it? Come on. Okay. So the this is appeal number 101. The property owner is Fairfield Woods Plaza LLC. The location is at 2317 Black Rock Turnpike. The appellant or the representative was Mario Coppola. The appellants or the town has the property valued at $8,670,500. And I'd like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion a fair market value of $5,202,300.
Ms. Harold, I'll second.
Thank you. All right, so you can see in the file that we have here is basically the affidavit for him to appeal on their behalf. And then you have the field card. Mr. Coppola, or Attorney Coppola, had presented no additional items. And for all these other ones that I'm about ready to go through, no additional information, no additional items. He was concerned about FOIA info, that anything he shared during a hearing could be available for somebody else out there. He does, I believe he shares Paulette's opinion, where commercial property can't be judged by the BAA and the town should not be hearing these cases.
A reasonable man.
So, that's all I got for this one and the next ones.
I'm thinking, we might be able to, I don't know, Ross, is it all right if he just reads the appeal numbers and we sort of put them in the record as individual ones, but we take them all together? And so he doesn't have to read them. The answer is the same, or do you want them all read into the record for whatever reason?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Maybe John's got something on his laminated chart on that.
No, I don't have anything on my laminated chart. I guess my, common person thought is that we should just go through each one of these, give it an up and down vote, one by one. Just we won't have much to talk about in between.
Just call for the vote. I think that's fair, and if anybody's going to change their vote, to let you know, and we'll just read them quickly, property address and the values, and then
just call the vote.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So we're ready to vote on this one, I guess, right, Harold?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. What was the appeal number again?
101. And
Yes.
the motion is to grant the appellant's market value of $5,202,300.
So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention. The vote is 0-4-1. One abstention. The appeal is denied. The abstention is from Paulette.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes.
Is the correct vote to deny the appeal because we didn't even discuss it, or is it to abstain because we're not going to deal with it? We're just going to let them go on with it.
I would say that by denying it, well, I guess either way, if we abstain or deny it, it would be denied overall, and then they can go on.
And I mostly denied because but what he's requesting is a big difference, and even without any information, but I normally would have abstained.
Just to, since we're going to go through these rather quickly, okay? We could just go from the top of the list on down.
Yep.
What?
I mean, I'll just comment on that a little bit. This is Kathleen. I mean, in general, when people don't provide us information and they ask us for something, we deny them. That's usually what we do. And in this case, he gave us no information. So, you know, we might not be qualified to do it, but if he didn't give us anything, he's, you know, when other people ask for something and they don't give us anything, we don't, you know, we don't abstain. We vote no because they didn't prove their case, right? So I don't think he proved his case.
My question has to do with, you know, a statement that the representative made saying that he didn't want to provide any information because he didn't feel that the board should be reviewing these. So I'm wondering why he submitted an appeal in the first place.
Because he had to, because if he wants to go to court, because we decided to hear properties of these types, they have to come in front of us. So basically, he's just going through the motions so that he can go to the next step where he really wants to go to, which is the court route.
Okay. I understand that.
Yep. Okay, the next one that I have here to present is appeal number 102. The property owner is Clearview Holdings LLC and Cleveland Clearview LLC. The property location is at 2220 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative was Mario Coppola. The town's value is $3,512,200, and I'd like to make a motion to grant the appellant's fair market value of $2,107,000 and $320. Let's make it just 300. So $2,107,300.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention. The appeal is denied. The vote is 0-4-1. Paulette abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is appeal number 103. The property owner's name is Lake Hills Shopping Center, LLC. The property location is 2250 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative who appealed was Mario Coppola. The town's value is $17,006,500. And I'd like to make a motion to grant the appellant's fair market value and go ahead. Oh, to $10 million.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Kathleen, you're mute.
I'm sorry, do I see 1 million on the,
No, 10 million.
but was it wrong in the database? Does anybody see 1 million somewhere? I've got 1 million on my sheet. I'm just wondering why that's the case.
No,
I
I think
doubt
that was I think that's a typo.
It was
and
a
that-
typo. So Ross, that's a correction in your sheet. Should be 10 million.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is Ross. I have 10 million.
Yeah, you do. Okay. I have 1 million. I don't know where it came from. Okay.
I don't think that's going to change the outcome of the vote.
All right, this is Harold. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting the requested value of $10 million, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. The vote is 0-4-1. The appeal is not granted, is denied. Paulette abstaining.
Okay, the next one that I have to present is appeal number 104. The property owner is K&R Associates LLC. The property location is 2115 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative is Mario Coppola. The town has a value of the property of $1,850,400, and I'd like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value, and change the town's value to $1,110,200.
Is there a second?
This is Veronique. I'll second.
Veronique seconds. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $1,110,240, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention. The grant is denied. The vote is 041. Paulette abstaining.
All right, thank you. Next appeal is number 105. The property owner is Enterprise 3 Company LLC. The property location is at 2074 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative for the appeal is Mario Coppola. The town has a value of $1,811,800, and I'd like to make a motion that we grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and reduce the town's value to $1,087,000. I'm just going to leave it at flat, even though he has the $80. So 1087, $1,087,000.
This is Harold. Is there a second?
This is Veronique. I'll second.
Veronique seconds. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? The appeal is denied. The vote is 041. One abstention, and it's Paulette making the abstention.
Thank you. The next one that I have is appeal number 106. The property owner's name is 2055 Black Rock Turnpike Corporation. The property location is 2055 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative was Mario Coppola. The town has the value of $5,471,900. And I'd like to make a motion to grant the opinion or appellant's opinion of fair market value and reduce the town's value to $3,283,100.
Okay, any discussion?
We need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? Then I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 041. One abstention from Paulette. Thank you.
Okay. The next one that I have here is appeal number 107. The property owner's name is Fairway Plaza Associates LLC. The property location is 1968 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative for the appeal was Mario Coppola. The town's value is $5,406,200, and I'd like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and reduce the town's value to $3,243,700.
Excuse me, this is Harold. Am I this is 107.
Yes.
The card in the file has
Yeah, this is
different.
Ross, Harold. I
Pardon?
think 107 was actually withdrawn, and the correct appeal number is 108.
Oh, okay.
There was two filed on, this was filed twice.
Okay.
So 107 is withdrawn.
No, I take that back. I'm sorry, I take that back. 107 is 1968 Black Rock Turnpike,
Yep.
Fairway Plaza.
And then 108 is 1940 Black Rock Turnpike, but it's also
Right.
Fairway Plaza Associates with different values.
Yeah, let me check the backup.
Do we have
The
the
field
wrong
card-
card?
The
For
field card you
107, I
provided
had an 8,896,000, John, in whatever I have here, but maybe that's wrong.
That's what caught my eye.
8
Yep.
million, right? On 107.
Yes, it may seem like we're just cruising through these, but
No,
Really?
Yeah.
even the attached field card that the appellant provided is not jiving with what he's requesting or what he put in for town value. The field card he provided is appraised at 8.8 or 8.9, I should say, for him around.
Yeah, but on what they said, so maybe they didn't put the town's value right.
well, I think
they
that
Field
what they it doesn't even equate to the assessed values, so that is not correct.
Right.
So
He
is
must have got
this
the property address.
is this not properly submitted then?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is Ross. Just bear with me one sec. I think this might be one of the CVS's.
It was, yes.
Mention CVS.
CVS in
We had
Boston
four-
Market.
We had 4 appeals on this property from 4 different attorneys. I believe they were all withdrawn in favor of attorney Gene Schroeder, appeal 574.
Okay, I didn't have that one.
Yeah, this cap, I have 107
I
as
don't-
withdrawn as well.
Yeah, so I believe 107 is actually a withdrawal.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just forget that we did that one. We'll just take that off. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Then the next one I would like to present is appeal number 108. Property owner's name is Fairway Plaza Associates, LLC. The property location is 1940 Black Rock Turnpike. The representative appealing is Mario Coppola. The town's value is $4,463,700. And I would like to request that we change the town value to the appellant's opinion of fair market value, which is $2,678,200.
This is Harold. I'll second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Any comments? Not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? I have one abstention. Paulette abstains. The vote is 0-4-1 with one abstention. Thank you.
Okay. The next one I would like to present is appeal number 109. The property owner's name is Turnpike Shopping Center, LLC. The property is located at 1901 Black Rock Turnpike. The appellant, or the representative appealing is Mario Coppola. The town's value is 26 million. $753,300. And I would like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and have the town change the value of the property to $16,051,900.
Is there a second? I'll second. This is Harold.
Thank you.
Any discussion? I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 4 opposed, abstentions? 1 abstention. Paulette abstaining. Thank you. The vote is 0-4-1. Appeals is denied.
Okay. The next one I have to present is appeal number 110. The property owner is Katona Corner LLC. The property is located at 1865 Black Rock Turnpike. The appellant and representative is Mario Coppola. The town has a value of $3,984,700. And I would like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and reduce the town's value to $2,390,800.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Any discussion? I'll call a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. 4 opposed, abstentions? 1 abstention, Paulette. By the way, if this is Billy's Bakery, that's a great bakery.
I believe it is.
Yes, it looked like it.
Taxes won't be there much longer.
Okay. All right. Next one here is appeal number 111. The property owner is Cleveland Holdings Company 3. The property location is 1177 Post Road, Fairfield, Connecticut. The representative was Mario Coppola. The town has a value of $3,416,300. And I would like to make a motion that we grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and change the appraised value to
This
$2,049,700.
is Harold. I'll second it.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 4 opposed, abstentions? 1 abstention. Paulette abstains. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 0-4-1.
All right. Kathleen, are you keeping up with all this?
I'm wondering how many more Mario Coppolas you have to go.
1.
I have less than a dozen. How about that?
God,
Do we want to take a break and do the Patterson Club? Harold, I think Ross was available to help us with the Patterson Club. And I can also do some other appeals. Not that we don't want to. I thought maybe there was 4 left, but if there's 12, I'm having a little bit of a
I do have 4. Maybe did 113 get removed?
Let me see. I clicked on the wrong thing.
This is Harold. I only see 1 on this short list. That is 113. Did that get removed?
This is Ross. 113 is a residential.
That a residential, which we already voted on.
And
So
so
I got-
is 114.
Okay, yep. So I've got 4 left of
5.
Mario.
5.
5?
I think you have 5. There's 4 in the 300s and 1.
Yes, 5.
Well,
Yeah, we haven't done 12 yet, so 5.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to take a break,
I'd just rather get this done and over with.
Yeah,
Finish 'em
I
off.
think I agree. Just blow them out because I mean, if we try to table it or do it another day, we're just going to lose momentum.
we're knocking the socks off that 7-minute clock.
Mhm.
Yeah, but some of these are 2 minutes. We got to get them down to 1 minute because I'm keeping the clock here. So let's try to get it in 1 minute.
All right,
Okay.
Let's go, John.
go down the list.
Okay,
Faster,
so
faster.
yes, faster, stronger, whatever. Okay, appeal number 112. This is property owner 1305 Post Road LLC. Property location is 1305 Post Road. The representative appealing is Mario Capola. The town's value is $14,135,600, and I'd like to make a motion to the appellant to change the value to the appellant's opinion of fair market value of $8,481,300.
This is Ronnie. Got second.
Thank
Want to
you.
call the vote? No.
I'm sorry, I'm catching up. Yes, any discussion? Then we'll vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? 1 abstention. Paulette, the appeal is not granted. The vote is 0-4-1.
Appeal's not granted.
It's not granted. 0-4-1.
Okay, the next one is appeal number 328. The property owner's name is Commerce Drive Holdings LLC. The property is located at 305 Black Rock Turnpike. The appeal was presented by Mario Capola. The town has a value of $17,060,900, and I would like to make a motion that we grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value of $12,750,000.
This is Ronnie. Got second.
Okay, I'm looking through this one because it appears that the information came in very
Yes.
late, and I wanted to see how complete it is and if there's any issues with it. Any discussion from anyone? Now call a vote. Yes, Paulette, did you have your hand up?
No, I'm just stretching.
Oh. Okay.
She's getting ready.
Yeah, I know. It's a long haul in these. I'm wait till you get to mine. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstaining? 1 abstention. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 0-4-1. The abstention is from Paulette. Thank you.
The next appeal is number 329. The property owner is Thomas Greenwalt and al. The property is located at 301 Commerce Drive. Mario Capola was the representative presenting the appeal. The town's value is $2,430,000, and I'd like to make a motion that we grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value of $1,460,000.
Any discussion?
We need a second.
I'll second it. Yes, I'll second. Any discussion? I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested amount, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 4 opposed, abstentions. 1 abstention. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 0-4-1. Paulette abstaining.
Okay. The next appeal is number 330. It is, the owner is Fairfield Ardmore LLC. The address is 107 Ardmore Street. The representative was Mario Capola. This is interesting. Let me just double check something here because the town's value is what they're asking for.
This is Harold. Yes, I see the numbers are the same.
Okay, I got nothing else to go on, so maybe we actually grant this one. The town's value is $1,681,800, and I'd like to make a motion that we grant the appellant's opinion a fair market value of $1,681,800.
This is Harold.
Well,
I'll second.
If we grant it though, then they can't come back if they made a mistake or whatever, right?
Oh, but they could still appeal with our decision, I think.
In court, they can still go to
court.
court. Yeah.
Yes.
What? And how could they go
But
to
either
court?
way,
How do they go to court if we grant this when that's the value they put on it?
I guess any appeal can go in court, rejected or approved.
Well, what would be the reason to go? If you for that and we gave it to you, then how could you go to court?
Well, the fact is that if they are dissatisfied with our decision, they don't have to have a real reason to go to court. They can. I mean, there's nothing in the that I read or I'm aware of that prevents them from going to court. Maybe they've changed their minds. I don't know. But the fact is that they purchased this property not too long ago, and they're asking for the same value. So I think that we can consider approving it. Kathleen?
I'd like to.
Kathleen, Ross, I just want Ross to double check that this is that the town didn't make a mistake on this property before we vote yes. Can you
It
just look at
doesn't
the
look like
card?
they did.
Okay,
It's-
I'm not
it's
looking
that-
at the card.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the card, but now I am. But yeah, that's
Yeah, the card, this is Ross. The card's value is 1,681,800, and I'm looking at the, what was filed, and they did write down the town value for their request, their ask.
Okay. What, you
I'm
guys
still
want to
leaning-
go?
Huh?
All right. I'll call a vote. All those in favor of,
I think we
yes,
should give them the benefit
Paul,
of
do you want,
that they made a mistake.
Yeah, I think they may have made a mistake, but either way, it would go through court. I'm still leaning on rejecting it because I feel like if we approve it and they go to court, they're going to be like, all right, well, you requested this value and we rejected it. I think it makes them a weaker case, even a small semantic. I think it may be easier rejecting it.
I agree.
at the same time, they could, do errors and omissions, file an errors omissions case against their lawyer for not
The same,
filing
though.
it correctly.
Well,
I mean, people all the time, we've seen appraisal or people like fill in the wrong numbers in the wrong spots or like wrong values, and we kind of like make a judgment to correct it, or we hear it in their appeal. And
Right.
so I'm kind of leaning towards rejecting.
are we reading too much between the lines here, folks?
Probably it's going to be the same as go to court.
we're awfully quick to deny people for anything we want to deny them for. So I think we should give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Deny this appeal and let him go to court.
Okay.
I think that's the right thing to do, because
Yeah.
that's what he wants to do
Yeah.
to begin with.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll call a vote, and you can vote based upon what your judgment is. All those in favor of granting this appeal, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Ronique and Paulette, you convinced me.
Thank
John,
you.
too. So the vote is 0-5-0. The appeal is not granted.
All right, last one here, and then I'm done for a while. Okay, this is
Yes.
appeal number 331. The property owner's name is Thomas Greenwalton All. The property is at 145 Kenwood Avenue. Mario Coppola was the representative for this appeal. The town has a value of $968,700, and I would like to make a motion to grant the appellant's opinion of fair market value and change the town's value to $581,000.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
This is Kathleen. Is there any, I'm not looking at is there any paperwork at all? This is actually under $1 million. So that's what I'm just
Yeah.
wondering.
And this is
Same
how
argument. Okay,
I will second the motion first of all.
I'm
before I
sorry.
forget.
Nope, it's just the standard, you know, basically what you've got in here is you have the petition, you have the affidavit for Coppola to present, and then you have a copy of a note saying, please find numerous Board of Appeal applications I'm filing on behalf of my clients. Okay, then you have the vision listing printed out as well as the field card, and that's it. And again, for all these that we've just gone through, no additional information sent or filed, nothing spoken that would give us anything to go on.
Any further comment or discussion? All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention by Paulette. The motion is not, the appeal is not granted. The vote is 0-4-1. Paulette is abstaining. Thank you, John.
Yep. Thank you.
So it was suggested that I do the golf course. That's appeal number 407. And then I suggest we could take a break after this one. This appeal is number 407. The address is 1118 Cross Highway, and the owner is the Patterson Club Incorporated. There are a couple of comments on this. An appraiser came along with the representative of the Patterson Club and was suggesting a reduction in revenue. Food and beverage and events was impacted by the COVID situation, and they decided to consider the income approach instead of market value. And they were comparing the Country Club of Fairfield and also Brooklawn Country Club. And they did mention something about a PA 490, which is a public act pertaining to land and how it is defined. And I believe that the Fairfield of Country Club of Fairfield is classified differently because it has applied for the Public Act 490, whereas this golf course did not. And if they do apply, and looking at the practical guide and overview of from the Connecticut Farm Bureau Association, which deals with land classifications, on page 18, it does state how you apply for a PA 490. And I did check with the assessor's office, and we checked the files. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ross, but you did not find a filing of the PA 490 application. Is that correct?
No, in researching this, I believe the PA 490 should remain on the property. I believe it was classified as open space, and it's going to be my recommendation that at least the PA 490 get put back on this.
So it was on, but then it was removed. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So can you tell us how that adjusts the town's value so that we can compare it with the requested value?
I can do that. It's going to take me a sec. 1118 Cross Highway.
And as you can imagine, this is Harold speaking, with the golf course, most of the value is in the land, although they do have nice facilities for banquets, and the clubhouse is quite nice. They do have quite a nice membership, and their membership has been retained for the most part, but they did mention the beverage and the events and meals being reduced because they just didn't get the traffic for that. So let's see what we can do about the land.
This is Kathleen. I missed who seconded that one, Harold. Do you know who seconded your motion, or did you not come up with a dollar amount yet?
Well, we're asking a question of the assessor.
So
He indicated, I don't think I made a motion yet.
okay, I was going to say, because even so, even if we're going to amend it, we probably still need to make the motion for what they asked for, right?
That's true. Okay, so I will make a motion then to grant this appeal to the requested value of $9,142,400. And do I have a second? Kathleen has seconded it. Thank you.
So are we saying that the Patterson Club, the reason why it went up 47% was because that 490 was taken off?
I believe that's correct.
Or that's the ongoing assumption?
This is Ross. The building went up also. So if you want to treat this like you've treated some of the other corrections, you can correct the land and then, go from there on the remainder of their material.
So this is Kathleen. So do you consider this a card correction then?
Yes.
So do it as two separate. Of course, we just motioned it to the 9-1, but that's all right.
I'll also mention that there were separate cards pertaining to this property, but I believe that they're all under the same ownership. But I think that some of them had to do with the clubhouse, the shed, and so on. And one card had all of the acreage on it.
Okay, reapplying the classification, the appraised value goes down to $13,948,700.
This is Kathleen. You're reclassifying it as what's the reclassification from?
Open space.
To open space. Okay.
Could you repeat that amount, because it sounds like it's more than the town's value?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, something didn't go right here. Hold on.
Let's say it doesn't bring them anywhere close to what they're asking for.
Well, this is the problem with open space, is it doesn't change the appraised amount, it changes the assessed amount. So the assessed amount is now $7,711,200, where it was at $9,302,230 prior. It's just the difficulty in working with the open space classification or farm classification.
I understand. We did see this situation in another larger property of 18, I think it was 18 acres. So one way to handle this be to take the difference in the land values and subtract it from the town's value as a whole and see what that comes up with?
I'm not sure I followed that, Harold.
Okay. Well, you said that the assessed value on the land is what, about $2 million less than what the town has it at?
Right.
Okay.
13. I'm trying to figure out why the appraised value went up. Let me start over.
So it looks like the land went up a little over 2.2 million, almost $2.3 million. And the improvements went up just under 2 million, like 1.9, around that.
Do we want to withdraw this and give the assessor's office more time to analyze this?
I've got a number. I've got it, Harold. The assessment did not change, but applying the classification reduces the assessment to $7,707,700. So no change in the appraised value, but a reduction in the assessment. So I think you just need to take that into consideration. You know, if you want to reduce the buildings further, you know, that would be a separate discussion.
So Ross, you're saying that by applying that, it goes from 9,302,000 down to, you said 7 million?
Yeah,
For the assessment,
7,707,700.
which would still be an increase of what, about 1.4 million over the 2000, or I'm sorry, the 19 assessment?
Right, the assessment, well, it'd be more like 1.3. From
Okay.
about 6,000,004 to 7,000,007, so 1.4.
Okay.
So this is Kathleen. I think we just need to word the motion. I think you know, do it as two motions. The first motion would be to change the classification from X to X and use assessed dollars when we speak as opposed to appraised dollars. Then that would reflect the change in the assessment, right? And then the second part would be considering everything else that they want to do. And I would put assessed in the minutes rather than appraised in the minutes.
But this is how, but I'm not sure what the final number would come out to be. And I don't want to vote on assessed values. I mean, assessed values when they're talking appraised values.
For the second motion, you'd go back to talking appraised values, I think. Right, because they're asking for other things on the property, things to do with the house or.
No, they asked for reduction primarily due to the lack of revenues.
So they weren't asking for this classification change. We're just giving it to them. I mean, Ross is recommending that they get it.
They asked about that code.
Okay.
But they they wanted to know why it wasn't there anymore. And in comparing themselves with the Country Club of Fairfield, they said that that golf club does enjoy the benefits of that code.
Yeah. So so I think that's a coding correction, which we've done. When people say they take their generator off, it's just how we word it. I think we just need to, we're going to have the same issue with the farm, right? If we, however we vote on the farm, because or like a nonprofit when we vote on those ones, when it's a classification change. It's a little bit different than a standard real estate appeal.
So where we are now is we have a figure of $7,707,700 in assessed value for just the land. Is that correct?
I think basically what Kathleen said is the best way. You make a motion to grant the open space classification and reduce the assessment to $707,700.
But is that the assessment on the land portion or the entire?
The entire. That's
Oh,
the whole property.
Okay. All right.
You just need those numbers again. I need you to tell me what those numbers were again.
It's $7,707,700.
That's what it is now, or that's where it's going?
That's where it's going.
Where it's going.
That's where it's going. Okay.
Okay. So
Where is it now? Sorry. Where's the assessed now?
I believe it's $9,302,000.
230.
That's it.
But again, we're only talking about the land. Is that correct?
No, that's improvements and the land.
So the original town value was $13,288,900 in appraised, but the assessed, okay, we're talking assessed. That was where the 9.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is Kathleen Harold. Why don't you withdraw your other motion? Because I unfortunately asked you to make a motion. So let's withdraw that other motion. And we can vote to withdraw or just withdraw it. Now the new motion on the table, it is to reduce the assessed value, right?
Yes.
Appeal number 407.
I
So
make a motion to reduce the assessed value to $7,707,700 as assessed value. Now, all those.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor of granting the appeal to.
Well, the card correction,
in
right?
part to $7,707,700 assessed value. Raise your hand. Any further discussion? Are you unsure of something?
I'm unsure of everything.
I'm just not entirely clear of. It's just it's a large change. It's this commercial property. I was going to abstain from this. I just don't feel comfortable with the changes. And I'm just not comfortable, or I just don't know enough about it.
I understand. Well, there's a card change because of a public act condition on the land that can be applied that was there and fell off. And so we're dealing with the assessed value, and we're changing the assessed value to the figure, and that's what we're voting on, the $7,707,700.
So, Ronique, is it that the public act, is that what is throwing you for a loop?
No, the classifications, like having it as open space. that's a little confusing to me because it's not exactly an open space. Is that what Brooklawn is like? I don't know.
This is Kathleen. I think the Country Club of Fairfield has it, and Ross can speak to this. I don't want to speak for him, but perhaps he would recommend that we do the same for Brooklawn. I don't know how, Ross, you feel about that.
I mean, this is Harold. I want you to vote the way you feel you should vote. I just don't want you to not understand something that you feel that you should.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Paulette.
While we were going over the land, I was looking at the field card. So under outbuildings and yard items and extra features in that section, I'm not understanding like where it says unit price and then you go over to appraised value. So for example, the elevator. 3 units, I guess. What's that 50,000? Is that the cost? Is that the price?
What item are we talking about?
Under the section of outbuildings and yard items. There's an elevator, fireplace, extra fireplace, generators.
So it has 3, if I'm reading this correctly, it would indicate that there's 3 elevators. Ross, this is on page 9 of the file. It has 3 elevators. The unit price that, if it was 100%, would be 50,000 for each.
Okay,
So
then
and then they take off the percentage good, so that's why that's why the appraised value is 75,000.
all right, and then this one is 2 of those, and then one of those, okay, and then the sprinklers.
I'm assuming that's a sprinkler system.
Yeah,
that
so
covers
That's a fire
49,000.
suppression system.
Yeah, that covers 49,349 square feet of the building. Is that right, Ross?
Yes.
Okay.
okay,
All right, getting back to the vote again, all those in favor of granting in part to $7,707,700 assessed value, please raise your hand.
Harold, this is Kathleen. It's not an in part, it's a card correction. This is a card correction.
Okay,
To
thank
apply
you.
to apply PA 40 or 490, correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay, to the card.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Which
it's a little
would
bit
then
different.
reduce
This is just like,
Go ahead.
and we're just going to use the word assessed value.
Yes, as assessed value.
Right.
Opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions?
I was in favor of it, I just forgot to raise my hand.
I don't know if I raised my hand either. Yeah, I was in favor. Sorry.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Ronique opposed.
No, I abstained.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand in time. 1 abstention. Ronique abstained. The motion is carried to grant the assessed value as stated to $7,707,700. Thank you. Golf is not an easy sport.
This is
Now,
Ross.
now,
Just so
now you have the
a-
other motion to bring back.
Right, just jot this number down, 11,011,000. That's the effective value based on the current assessment with PA 490. That may help when you're considering lowering the remainder.
Okay,
So Ross, just by applying the PA 490, that's going to stay for the next revaluation period, correct? Until
Yes.
somebody manually removes it.
Yeah, it should stay
Okay.
on there.
Okay, cool.
So 11,011,000 is the appraised value based upon that assessed value.
Yeah, I call it the effective appraised value.
Okay. And we're comparing a requested value of $9,142,400. We agreed? Okay. So now, going back to the original motion, all those in favor of granting the requested value of $9,142,400? Raise your hand. Opposed? Raise your hand. Abstaining?
I guess I have a question. I'm confused. I understand what we just did. That's fine. But now, so now we're down to 11,011,000, whatever. And they're asking for 9,142,000 and change. But their request wasn't just based on that thing, wasn't it? Wasn't it also based on the decreased revenue and stuff from their, from their
Correct.
business? So do we need to look at that, or are we just skipping that and just going with this?
Well, I don't know how long that revenue reduction is going to impact them.
Well, this is how I look at it. I don't care how long it is, because here's the thing. In the residential side, we raised a lot of times we denied appeals because, after all, COVID raised the prices. We don't know how long those prices are going to hold for. They might not even hold till the end of the year. But now in this commercial side, we're saying, well, we don't know how long that's going to hold, so we don't want to reduce it. Shouldn't they be treated the same way? For a value, like if we can jack up properties and keep them there because properties prices went up because of COVID, this time revenue went down because of COVID. So why can't we consider that?
Well, we don't know how much it went down. I mean, they have a number, and they have on one of the pages a summary of what their revenue was, comparing it with the other golf clubs. So I don't know if there's $2 million of lost revenue or not, or $3 million, or $1 million, or $50. I can't calculate that.
There's one place here on the next page where they talk about a 47.3 reduction or change.
Well, how does that equate to dollars?
It equates to $4,505,300.
What page are you looking at, Paula?
Unfortunately, I can't see the numbers on my computer, but it's after the field card. It's 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth page after the field. No, the fifth page
Okay.
after the.
It's the one that says comparative real estate?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's more of the real estate and the personal property that isn't dealing with the revenues. I believe, where did the revenues go? Is the revenues, the total revenues is on the page above it.
Yeah.
Where it shows what the Decembers were for 19 and then November there. So total revenue looks like it dropped $2 million, or, well, actually what? Maybe not 2 million, 1.7 million.
Yeah.
From December 18 or December 19 to November 20th, they do have the November 19 revenues at that point, and that looks like it dropped 1.1 million, from year over year at that point, or 12-month period, not year over year. Dues looked like it stayed pretty much the same, but it looks like you're right. The big reduction is the F&B, which I'm assuming is food and beverage, and that dropped 800,000. Because it looks like for most of the other years, for 15, 16, 17, you know, it's been pretty consistent at that 1.8, 1.9 million.
And this is how, if they're calculating revenue, they're calculating in their some portion of profit as well, but it's revenue, not net revenue. It's gross
Mhm.
revenue.
However, I do notice that their golf maintenance went up. It was the highest of all the numbers there of 1.7 million. So I'm not quite sure. And then you have total rounds that went up as well in November of 2020. So something,
Because they could be outside. Food and
This is
beverage,
Ross.
because
I don't think they're reporting their round fees.
total rounds, total guest rounds. I saw that somewhere else.
no,
I mean,
you
their
have
number of
the-
rounds went up tremendously.
yeah, that's what I'm kind of confused on. Unless that's the golf maintenance, but I think that's an expense, right? Ross, the golf maintenance, that's,
They're really not making it clear.
You know, I hate to say this because Ross has been very helpful this evening and I appreciate it, but again, weighing in when we're deliberating is not proper. So I'm going to ask if we can please stop having that done.
We've asked Ross for assistance in this, so.
We didn't ask him for the last comment. Yes, we asked him for assistance and I'm grateful for it. He's been very helpful when we've asked for assistance. That's the difference. We were done with his portion of it. We were looking at the food and beverage costs and that stuff. So that's what we were looking at now on our own.
I mean, it looks like really, you know, I mean, which makes sense that the number of events totally dropped, and that's probably where the food and beverage took the hit by looking at this.
Well, this is Kathleen. I mean, do we think that we're going to be able to figure this out and be able to make an educated choice? And if not, I think we should just, you know, we have this with all the other restaurants too. It's complicated. They did have an informal hearing, so Chris Kieran, you know, probably spoke with them and went over these COVID, you know, difficulties with restaurants. And I believe he did, you know, in his presentations, he gave, you know, some of them some relief. You know, but it's tough because it's 5 years and they're going to bounce back. So I'm not, you know, I'm ready to vote just because I know I can't.
This is how I don't think that we can come up with an explanation of the revenue from the food and beverage, because if you're selling less food, it's costing you less. If you have less people servicing the diners, so
You're selling less food, so you're losing money. The money is made in
how much money are they losing? Yeah, we don't know how much money they're losing. All we know is there's a reduction in revenue, okay? But the booze still stays in the bottle if it's not being sold.
And that's the problem, because you can't, that's where you make your money on booze, even the restaurants. That's where the money comes from.
You know, it's a golf club and they have many avenues for making revenue. So I think we'll end this debate because it's not getting us closer to an understanding of this value. So I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor of granting the requested value of the $9,142,400, please raise your hand. I have one in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. I have three opposed. Abstentions? One abstention. The appeal is not granted. And there is a card correction. The vote is 1-3-1, with Paulette voting in favor and Ronique abstaining.
And let me just say, this is the first one that presented evidence that was understandable. I had no trouble understanding this one, and yet we don't grant it, which is my point from the beginning. If we don't understand it, we have no business talking about it. I'm
I
just trying to-
understand, I understand that revenue in a restaurant does not equate to cost.
Whatever. That's all I'm gonna say. We're done talking about it. Whatever. This is the way it was gonna be anyway. This is just going through the motions to satisfy the assessor's office. So let's just do it and be done with it.
What we're ending up doing is granting appeals that are in favor of appellant. We're not raising any values.
We didn't raise the values. I didn't
No,
say
we're
we
not.
raised.
We're not. We're granting appeals that are beneficial to the taxpayers.
Maybe you think so. Sometimes we are. You're absolutely right, but not all the time.
Well, nothing is all the time.
I think everyone should be granted. I don't mean it that way. I just mean that sometimes we don't want to finish something because it's going to cost too much money, and that's not a good thing. We make up the rules.
That I don't understand, but that's neither here nor there because it doesn't, it's not pertinent to our discussion of a particular appeal.
It's pertinent to this one because we decide when we make changes when we feel like it, and we're not consistent. I don't think the taxpayers don't realize it because they absolutely do.
Sometimes we make changes when we can, and sometimes we don't make changes because we
But we're
can't.
not consistent when we make the changes. There's the problem. It's not whether we made them or not. It's not consistent throughout.
That's open to interpretation, so I will end it there.
Okay. You win.
Thank you for your comments.
I'm sure you're pleased with them, yeah. Let's go on.
Yeah. So this is Kathleen. Do we, Harold, do you want to get your, I've got a couple Mill Hills here. I'd rather wait another night, but I can try to do them. Or we got a couple personal properties if you want to knock off some personal properties. Or this is Kathleen. Ross, if you had any of the other commercials that you felt you could help us with that we could knock off tonight, do you have any on that list?
I haven't looked at the personal property recently, but I know that we've had two or three
commercial
declarations submitted.
Yeah, sorry, no, I meant commercial. Are there any other commercials you feel you can walk us through?
Excuse me, but again,
unfortunately, I was on a street trial for about 5 hours today.
Yeah, it's fine. So how about, Harold, did the personal properties come in? Do we want to finish those? Or I can grab a couple Mill Hills if you want.
I have, as a result of a prior meeting, we noticed that on several of the commercial properties, personal properties, that they were missing a declaration, completed declaration form. So I reached out to to three of the people, and I got 3 declarations returned. I am still waiting for one person. I've contacted them by email and by telephone, and 3 of the 4 have responded so far. So I've given them much opportunity to complete the task of providing a declaration. So we can do these 3 that I have declarations on now, get them out of the way. So I have appeal number 243. And this is, how do we define these now? Quadrant Publishing. The appellant is Christopher Rosso. Do we need an address? I suppose we do. 354 Pequot Avenue in Southport. This is appeal number 243. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is 0. The town has it valued at $6,250.
So now this is Kathleen. Is that, Ross, is that assessed? I think we're going to, usually when we talk personal property, we talk assessed value. So I'm pretty sure that's the town value is $6,250 assessed.
Yeah, so I'll double check that, but I believe you're right.
Okay.
So in defense of the appellant, he read the declaration, and it says, if you don't have anything to declare, then you don't have to complete a declaration. I believe I said something about that as well in there. So that's why he felt that he should not complete the declaration. But he did, he submitted it, and it is now in the file. And as we discussed previously, there are no assets there. It's an address that he uses to protect his publishing company. And Paulette heard this one with me as well. So if you have anything you wish to add, Paulette, please do so.
No, I'm good. I think you did. I think you explained it fine. He told us that he has nothing to, he has no assets. So exactly what he said.
So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting the appellant's requested
So
value.
this is Kathleen, sorry, just one clear, I don't know if I had a motion, I don't know if if I have a second, but also just, if we go to zero, Ross, I'm assuming there's no penalty, right? If they don't have anything, there's zero that we can't waive the penalty, but if they have nothing.
That's correct. It'll be zero.
So there'll be no penalty for being late, okay.
Okay,
Right.
so I make a motion to grant the appellant's value of $0. There's a second.
Second,
Okay, thank you, Paulette. All those in favor of granting this appeal to no value, raise your hand. Opposed? I have one opposed. I would like to ask, the appeal is granted. The vote is 4 in favor, 1 opposed, Kathleen opposed. I would ask the assessor one question. In the instructions of the declaration, is it stated that if the appellant feels that they have no valuable personal property, that they need not complete a declaration?
This is Ross. I'd have to read it to refresh my memory.
Okay, I think I did notice something about that, so that's something to consider. If we have others that fall into this category.
I'll check it out.
Okay. The next one I have is 615. The property location is 1506 Post Road, 2nd floor. The property description is Companion Homemaker Agency, and the owner is Fabiola Flore. The appellant's requested market value was changed as a result of the declaration. Let me just bring up the declaration there. If you go down to the bottom of the declaration, I believe that the final number that I see here is $300. For that is a partial use of her computer. And so I believe that that's the value that she's requesting.
So this is Kathleen. I think that's an assessed value, and two, we still have to add the penalty on top of that 300 because we can't waive the penalty.
Correct, I believe.
So this is
Yes,
assessed.
this form was not completed by the assessor's office, but that should reflect a 25% penalty.
So we have to add that on top of the 300.
In the voting. I'm not sure, but if we do, it becomes $375. Normally, we see the assessor's office completing penalties or any changes to come up with assessor's final assessment total, which is on the bottom of page 7.
Right. This
And
is
that was
Kathleen,
on-
but she agreed she filed late or didn't know that she needed to file. What was her
Oversight.
oversight? Okay, so I mean, I think I think the motion probably should have just been the 375, unless you want to do unless we want to do an amendment and change it from 300 to 375, because we can't, and it's assessed
think-
dollars, but.
I will ask the assessor's office to complete the document, and I make a motion to grant this appeal to the value of $375. All
You want
those,
to do that? Okay.
all those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. 5-0-0. Thank you.
Harold, I have a question before we start the next one, because I just want to go back. I just want to clarify something about the Patterson Club thing. The change in that PA 490 thing. We put it back on. Now, how does that come off? Like, is that going to happen again? Do we have to do something special to have that not happen again? Who has the right to take that off?
I don't know the answer to that, but I would suggest that you pose that question at
Russ.
the meeting to the
No,
assessor's office.
This is Russ. Yeah, this is Russ. It should stay on.
It should stay on.
It was removed during the reval by mistake, and it should have stayed on. It's been
Okay,
on,
so
I think since the 80s.
All right, there's your answer.
So the assessor's office actually accidentally took it off. Is that what happened?
I don't know for sure how it came off. I might have been working on the codes and changing them around, and I didn't
Okay.
put it back on when I changed. I think I created golf course codes, and
Okay.
I think I inadvertently didn't put the PA 490 back on when I created the specific coding for golf courses.
I just wondered.
All right, the appeal
Who
number.
seconded, who seconded that last one, Harold?
I
Or
did.
does anybody want to second it if it wasn't?
Who would like to second it?
The personal
Ronnie.
property,
Yeah.
Ronnie. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
Got
you.
it.
So I am still waiting for one more. And she said that she would do it, so we'll give her another couple of days. But there were two that Ross said that he was going to look into and see if it was actually withdrawn. This was appeal number 49, Catherine Sorrentino, the property located at 212 Curtis Terrace. And that's the one where she stated that she spoke with Paula about this, but this is requesting a value of 0. And I make a motion to grant this appeal to 0.
I'll second it.
Did she
And
submit her deck? I'm sorry, this is Kathleen. Did she submit her declaration?
no, because in the conversation we had at the time with the assessor's office, I was led to believe that he was going to speak with the parties that were involved in the conversation with Mrs. Sorrentino, and some decision would be made to remove this account from the town record or something to that effect. Ross, do you recall? She said that.
This
the
is
name-
Ross. No, I don't recall that
Okay, she did say that the
one way
name
or
was-
the other.
name was registered but never started the business. And then Paula, she spoke with Paula on 10/23, and Paula got COVID, and that's where it was left. Given those facts, I think that we can make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to grant this to zero,
I'll second.
even without a declaration. So I have a second. All those in favor of granting this appeal to zero, please raise your hand. Paulette?
That's up.
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? One opposed. Kathleen's opposed. Motion is granted to zero. And the other one I had was did not appear. And Ross, you indicated that you were going to make an assessor's change. This is appeal number 504. There was a completed declaration, but then she did not
Let
show.
me check on that.
Harold, this is Kathleen. Going back to 49, was there a street address for that? I didn't have anything in the record, or a name of the business?
Yes, the street address is 212 Curtis Terrace.
Curtis Terrace? Okay.
Yes, and no business name.
What do we have on that? Don't we must have something on file, no?
I'll check.
I don't know if the PIDs the PIDs don't work, I guess, for the personal properties.
We might have a PID. We have a PID at 37751.
Yeah, but it goes someplace else, doesn't go there. It looks like on the sheet, it was Catherine Sorrentino Host or something, must have been the name of her business. So that's close enough. I just need something for the minutes. That's right.
Yep. This is Ross. We have that account in the recommended by assessor changes, and our recommendation is to reduce it to $3,625, and that would include the penalty.
And what was that amount again?
$3,625.
And originally the assessment was $6,880.
Yes.
We're still talking about Curtis Terrace?
No, we're talking about appeal number 504.
I missed that. 504. Okay, sorry.
504.
Paulette, this is Kathleen, I was. So what's the address on 504?
504 is 77 Cambridge Street. And the property owner is Yasmin and Kaud, Khaud Osman, Osman.
I remember this. Okay.
So I don't have any other information besides what's on the file, because in the folder, I should say, or file, because they did not appear.
So are we denying this then, or are we, but it's in recommended by assessor, so I'm a little confused. Ross, can you clarify how you want to do this?
I guess maybe for consistency's sake, you should deny it since it's it's a no-show, and then, it'll come around in the recommended group.
This is how
Or
about
if
the,
you're more comfortable just to grant it, grant it.
are you saying to grant it to the assessor's recommended value?
I
Or,
think it would be more consistent to deny it for not showing, and then, we'll take care of it through the recommended by assessor.
I see,
But either way, it'll come out the same.
okay.
Say, I'm going to vote to deny it. just
I agree.
because With the no show inconsistency.
Mhm.
All right, all those in favor of granting this appeal?
Wait, do we make a motion?
I don't have any motions, no.
No, okay, the appellant's opinion of fair market value is $2,893.54. All those in favor of granting,
With John seconded it, right? I heard you, John.
I'll
You
second
seconded
it.
that? Okay.
favor of granting the appeal to the fair market value of the personal property, exclusive of penalty, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? One abstention, Paulette abstains.
This is Kathleen. Just for clarifications, it's actually not fair market value, it's assessed value on these personal properties. All those forms are assessed, so they're
Thank you.
reflected 2894. So in the minutes, I just use the word assessed when we do the PPs.
Very
So,
good. Yes,
Yeah.
I was reading off of the form.
yeah, I know, we have it. Yeah, those forms don't work great for the personal properties, but works for everything else, so that's good.
It certainly does.
Or most
Okay,
everything.
just Kathleen, did we do 49, appeal number 49?
The Catherine Sorrentino host? Yes.
Yep, okay, thank you.
All right, folks, I think we covered a lot today. Got our numbers down. Had some good discussion. So I'm going
And we
to,
learned stuff too.
I'm going to ask, yes, we did. I'm going to ask for a motion to,
One second tomorrow night, we have John, right? Ronique, you're gonna start the beach tomorrow night. I know people have been anxious for us to start 66. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
What does that
He
mean?
needs some help. We'll see.
What'd you say? I didn't hear him.
I said may need some help, but we'll see.
Okay. And do you want to start at 6 or 4? We may
can
have a
only
quorum
start
at
at
4,
6.
but John's not on till
I mean-
6. I probably can get a quorum at 4, but if 6 is better for everybody, we'll just start it. I've been a little lax this week with the minutes, taking some time, so I
Forward.
haven't been. Let me see.
Forward. I can do 4.
Paula, can you do 4?
Yes.
And so it would just be if Judy can do 4, we can start at 4. And John
Okay.
would do at 6. And I guess we'll just do commercial. Ronique is the only one with beach properties, and I can have my Mill Hills in better shape. So, and Judy may have, he doesn't have much left, a condo. And John, I don't know, John, if you're ready to do the Chris Russo ones. I think those are your only other appeals, right?
I could do the Chris Russo ones, yes.
Okay,
Just
let's
bear with what
do
was
that.
shared with
Let's
you.
do that in the beach. Or at 66, whatever Ronique can get through some, I wouldn't go into the FB8s, but maybe the first parts. And I'll do some Mill Hills. That'll get some commercials in.
I don't have too many people.
so are you confident that we have a quorum to begin at 4 o'clock?
I'd have to confirm with Judy, but I'll do that right now. She's still up. She had said she was, but I haven't confirmed yet. I don't know. You want me to?
If we can do 4, I'm pretty confident that we can finish all of my beach. I don't have that many beach. but we'll see.
We'll let you start. Peter and Alexis will be exhausted if we, but I'll send you an email. You know, I think maybe I put them in an order, and I think everything except through FB8. If you want to tackle whatever that is up to FB8, and then, you know, tomorrow, and then let the others have a little time Monday and Tuesday to start to catch up, and then you'll all be in FB8 together. So that's sort of my thought. But feel free to, you know, say otherwise. So, and I will text Judy.
Kathleen,
Yeah,
when
okay.
tomorrow, are we starting with the beach? I'm asking because, like, what do we publish on the website? Because I'm sure the Fairfield Beach Road people are going to want to hear those beach appeals. So are we starting with the beach?
Exactly. Yeah, I have been telling them that we are probably going to start at the beach tomorrow night, or definitely on Monday.
But I think Paulette's asking, is it going to be the top of the agenda or somewhere in between?
I'm pretty tired. What do you guys think? Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do.
All right, Ronnie, are you prepared to start the session on the beach?
Yeah, as prepared as I'm going to be, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start with the beach tomorrow then. Ronique starts with the beach at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll do a few of those, and then we'll do some, maybe John's commercials will be ready if Ross is, you know, if we can get the rest of John's commercials done. And Harold, I have, like I said, I've got some Mill Hills that I would like to make some progress on. They've been sitting over there for too long. And,
Okay.
yeah, and any other commercials you have, Harold, we can
I
start to look at more commercials.
Well, the commercial list I have is 42 of this, similar to Mr. Coppola, with the attorney just providing the information in a phone call, and nothing was added to the file. So if we wish to spend an hour, we can go through my 42 the same way we do with John.
That might be the very last night. I don't know. That's going to be the roughest part is when Judy has commercial too, so she may be ready to do some commercial. But let me see if she's available at 4. If she's not available at 4, then it's.
Should we adjourn and you'll send out an email tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay. Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second?
This is Nico.
Ronnie? Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Ready?
Tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you, Russ.